So for the students, we want to identify more of, okay, we've taught you lexics and structure, idiom, synonyms and all. By the time you are having your assessment, we want to see what you can even score, because every single assessment we give them is a live Jamb assessment.
Welcome to Tech Special, where the heartbeat of technology pulses with the rhythm of Africa. I am Timmy 007. Stay with me. Today, we'll be looking at how Educare Tech has helped rural students surpass 250 score in Jamb. And our guest today is a man who has successfully set up a computer-based test center for students in his village here in Nigeria, and the students passed in flying colors. It's none other than Mr. Alex Onya. Mr. Alex, I remembered I lived with some Igbo neighbors some time ago, and I know whenever they say something, I hear Onya. So I think it sounds like something like you are greeting somebody. Yeah, I hear Daddy Onya. So when I heard the name, it actually sounds familiar.
No, mine is different actually.
Yeah. Onya. Okay. So it's the sound like in Yoruba language, you hear obe. Obe. Obe is soup. Obe is knife. So just like the pronunciation of your own Onya and the Onya. Okay, all right, let's get back to business. The success story of your UTME student is mind-blowing and is really inspiring, I must say. So first thing first, what inspired you to establish a computer-based test center in your village? And how did you navigate the challenges involved in implementing such a project? So you're still going to tell us where the village is situated, because we only know it's a village, but we don't know where the village is.
Okay, so I'm from Enugu State, and my village is Ngwo. Ngwo is NGWO, and we
Okay,
call it the city on top of a hill that cannot be hidden.
okay.
So when you see Enugu, I mean, originally my village is
The coal
actually,
city.
yes, so my village is actually Enugu. Enugu means on top of the hill. So we are
Okay,
the only village situated on top of the hill, and that is my
okay.
village.
All right. So, how did you navigate the challenges involved in implementing such a project?
Okay, so the assessment center we have is one of our team members that owns the assessment center. So we have like 7 people in the team. One of the team members owns, which is actually a sitting senator, actually, Osita. So he owns the assessment center, which is situated not exactly in the village, but in IMT. So anytime we're doing our assessment, we take the children to the IMT campus, which is like 15 minutes drive from the village for the assessment, and then we bring them back. So we do that sometimes once every month or sometimes twice every month. It just all depends on the assessments we want to do.
Could you share some insights into the impacts this computer-based test center has had on students in your village, both academically and in terms of other border educational opportunities?
Yes, so before the assessments, we normally do like some training, but going straight to the assessments and how the CBT impacted them. Firstly, is that last year's JAMB was disastrous. More than 70% failed, and you should also remember that last year's JAMB was a lot better than this year's JAMB, right? So
Yeah.
more than 70% of the children in my village failed. And I mean, it's something that created a very great cause for concern, and we decided to be able to change the narrative. So now we were training, they were having classes Monday through Friday, and at the end of Monday through Saturday, actually, morning and evening. And at the end of every month, we do assessment to be able to determine the gaps. So we do both for the students and we do both for the teachers. So for the students, we want to identify more of, okay, we've taught you lexics and structure, idiom, synonyms, and all. By the time you are having your assessment, we want to see what you can even score because every single assessment we give them is a live Jamb assessment. So, what are you going to score? And even while you finish, we want to know where you are having gaps in so that the next month the teachers can know areas to focus on. So that if we notice that in English, you will notice that children are having issues with idioms and
Yes.
synonyms, then we can now focus on re-emphasizing on those gaps. This is what we did across all subjects. And for the teachers too, we don't want teachers to be relaxed. We want, because we fired a lot of teachers in the process and we recruited new ones. We want to be
Ooh.
sure that as students are working so hard, teachers are putting in almost exactly the same effort. Because we were paying the teachers every hour 2,000, and then we pay them by monthly. So we actually made sure that we paid them more than whatever they can get in any public school. So that made us give us some level of advantage. So every teacher wants to teach in the program, and the ones who are teaching definitely have to take it very seriously. So that was
Okay.
then another one is, the one of the biggest challenge we saw in the first assessment was technology shock. So students who many of them have never touched a computer before, they've only seen them draw it in the blackboard. And so we're asking ourselves, you've never touched a computer, and the first time you're touching a computer is on jam day. So even while you know so much, because of technology shock, handling a mouse, the navigation definitely will frustrate your life out. So we have to start teaching them basic computer use. We have to start teaching them how to navigate through a mouse. So these are some fundamental things we taught them. So this now built their confidence. So every single month we noticed improvement. Improvement based on the use of computer, improvement based on what they are learning, both based on the gaps that we discovered, improvement based also on the teachers too. So every single month. So the first month was definitely bad. We expected that. The second month, we noticed very slight improvement, but the real improvement started coming from the third month, and that was how the growth was exponential. So when the results were out, we actually expected more anyway. But I mean,
Okay.
they did well, but we expected a lot more.
Oh, really? So you were still expecting more above 250 marks?
We actually were looking like 390 for one,
Ah, you guys are proud.
so we needed more.
Okay. Was this done with the help of the government or without the help of the government?
No, zero help from the government.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, people blame digital media for distracting students, from reading. Do you share in this sentiment?
Of course, you know how this thing is. The digital media, yes, can be a distraction, but children are children. Children need care, children need attention, children need focus. If you don't give them those things, the next form of distraction, they will adapt to it. Whether it's digital media, whether it's anything, children are easily distracted when you don't care for them. So in my village, yes, the children could have been distracted by the digital media, but because of the amount of attention and focus, no single person was distracted in any way. So you can see that distraction is common. If you as you are now, if you're not doing anything at work, probably I'm
Yeah,
sure the next thing is that you're pressing your phone. But imagine if you have piles of things that you are doing, you won't even have time to touch your phone. So the day you do
exactly.
most work is the day you never really have time to. So imagine when you are having classes morning and evening, you are preparing for assessment, you know that roommate because sometimes I think after the fourth exam, we are threatening them. Anybody that scores below 250 or so, we're going to take them away from the program. So everybody's struggling, forming program pressure is everywhere. So if you look at
Wow.
it, there's almost no opportunity for you to be distracted. So if the children in Nigeria are really being cared for,
Yeah,
and a lot of
yeah.
attention and focus is given to education, distractions should be minimal.
Okay. How do you envision leveraging technology further with Educare to enhance educational outcomes across Africa, especially in underprivileged areas?
Yes, so that's one of the things. So there's a partnership we came into with Athena Center, which is chaired by Osita Chidoka, that's the former Minister of
Okay.
Education. So we got into a partnership. So how can our focus is how can we use our technology to be able to now dive in deep into the areas that are underprivileged. So initially, when they wrote Jam mock, it's only 260,000 that wrote Jam mock. out of
Yeah.
1.9 million people who registered. We wanted to see
Yeah.
how we can reach 1.5 of them. We did a whole lot, but we did because of the short time, we couldn't reach all. But then we also want to see, okay, how can we give every single child an opportunity? One, to be able to achieve Nigeria and then get to every other part of Africa. So it is one intentional engagement. We are going to start it a lot more intensively from June to be able to see
Okay.
how we can push technology. So that's one strong advantage we have, and we're definitely going to use that.
Okay. In what ways has your experience in establishing this test center influenced your views on the role of technology in education, particularly in addressing disparities and improving access to quality education?
Yeah, so technology is too important. One of the things that, like I talked about gaps, if you know that gaps analysis that we're able to take change the game.
Hmm.
Because we now knew where the problem really is. It's easy for somebody to score is 54 in maths, and the parents are saying, "Oh, this child does not know maths." And
Yeah.
failure comes with a lot of disadvantage and discouragement. But right now, we are going deeply into where the problem truly is. It can be the foundational teaching of calculus was where the problem is. Let's go back to the first principle. Let's retrain them on calculus of trigonometry. Let's start showing them the original principle. And once they pick it, the rest is history. So the
Hmm.
technology was too crucial in the success that we achieved today. If it's just to gather them and teach them, I'm sure that we'll not get near this result that we're able to get. And
Okay.
also, some of the private schools who did really, really well also use
Yeah.
the same Educare technology to achieve such milestones.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm still going to come to Educare, right? But considering the success of the test center, what advice would you give to other education technology entrepreneurs looking to make a positive impact in Africa's education sector?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we did because of the amount of data we have, we kind of knew what people need and at the time they need it and how they need it. That's one of the things that many edtech companies may not have the opportunity to have. So one of the things about whatever they are building, they should actually build it with what growth for humanity and core focus and how to be able to impact humanity. I mean, if you are building, so I see a lot of amazing stuffs. I'm building an AI tool that can help students to be able to learn this, learn that. These things are interesting, but most of these things does not work for 1.9 million or 1.5 million people who does not even have access to any form of device or who are managing to be able to tap in device. So you need to be able to say, okay, how can I build technology that can really work considering our local conditions and local situation? Not building a technology for people in Europe. There are some
Mm.
amazing things that works for people in Europe, but not at this point for people in Nigeria. So these are actually how we got those blends. And so for them, whenever you are thinking, think our locality first, see how you can really help people first, and then you can improve on that as we
Yeah.
make progress.
Like I said at the beginning of the show, that your story is quite inspiring and it's motivating, right? So, after this story broke out, this success story of Educare helping out in the village, what has changed? Any update about Educare or you personally?
No, I mean, one thing is that one good time deserves another. So the most
Yeah.
important thing is that we are very happy that at least lives were impacted. I mean, the entire community is on fire. They can't wait for us to start the next batch. Everybody will get
Ooh.
to the people reach out from all kinds of places, BBC, this and that and that. We've seen everybody. But then for me, the narrative still remains the same. If we can do it in our small community, how can we do it in the rest of the country? How can we get more people in that village in Bauchi, who one teacher teaches 400 students and there's only one school in the entire community? How can we? Because there's something that, there is a part, one is learning, another thing is social impact. Let me tell you, these children that we brought to learn,
Hmm.
they will probably could have been doing Yahoo Yahoo. That probably could have been doing teenage pregnancy and all those things. They could have been planning to kidnap people or start stealing. So we brought those energy, we harnessed all those energy and focused them to learning. So beyond just the part of them passing jam, you should also see the part because the community is safe, the community is happy, the community is progressive. So we solved a lot of problems with one single attack. There's no, I mean, the prison will never see us in a hurry. The what do they call it? So many of those other places will never see us in a hurry because the children are now focused. We've channeled the energy to what is right. So this is how we can even use education as a tool to actually correct many of the menace and errors we have in the nation. So the advantage of education for me is too much. So for us, it's just about we are happy that the result of our effort is showing, and that gives us a reason to do even way much more. That is actually how we will.
Okay, do you plan to plant more CBT centers in other states aside from Enugu?
Yes, so we right now we had with partnership with Atena, they already have established one in Obosi, which has like a 250 computers. At the cost of the program, they also ran like a sample assessment for the entire state. And I'm sure by the time we start now, they are going to intensively start. A lot of other people have been reaching out. How can they establish it in their locality? How can they do it in their own region? So we are trying to share as much feedback as we can to enable more people establish that within their own regions. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Alex. Mr. Alex Onya. Did I get the pronunciation very well?
Yeah, it was fine. Onya or Onya. Onya is better.
Onya. Onya. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. We hope you are able to, answer us again when we call on you.
Sure, 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 sure.
All right.
sure.
Thank you very much. And that was the CEO of Educare, Mr. Alex Onya. I mean, his success story is quite intriguing, inspiring, and motivating. Catch us for more exciting and mind-blowing episode on Tech Special. I am Temi 007. I'll see you next time.